This is David Kraft, editor-in-chief of WorkBoat Magazine and WorkBoat.com. And I'm here with Ken Hockey to my left, the senior editor of WorkBoat Magazine. And to my right is Bruce Bowles, the technical editor / West Coast editor of WorkBoat Magazine. Perhaps at his last WorkBoat show, but we'll get into that in a second. This year's show, we're wrapping up. We're at the final day. This is an hour from closing. It's been, once again, I really feel it has been the best show ever. And I think a lot of that has to do with the three keynote addresses, which we didn't have before. We led off with Captain Phillips, followed by Frank Foti of Vigor, and then we wrapped up with Chip Janikin of the Maritime Administration. Also, which we'll discuss, we changed the format for significant boats this year, did a breakfast. People were able to stay on the show floor, and I think it worked out really well. So, well, Ken, we'll start with you. What observations do you want to make about this year's show?
Well, the first thing I would say is what you just mentioned about the significant boats of 2014. It is the first time we had a boat of the year. It's the first time it was done as a breakfast, and it worked out very well. We had a lot of positive feedback. People liked the fact that they got to go to the award ceremony, and then when the award ceremony was over, they went to work. The show opened just as we were closing out the award ceremony, and it worked out fine. Everybody seemed to have a good time, and we sold it out, and so it looks like it's going to. The hardest part, the problem with it is we have to find a bigger place to hold it next year, so that's a good problem to have. Well,
tell me about the overall, our inaugural Boat of the Year winner, since you wrote about this particular vessel.
Well, it's called the Great Expectations. It's 312 by 66 offshore refueling vessel, and what it is kind of a floating gas station, if you will. It goes out and refuels. It can be rigs, it can be drill ships, supply boats, anything that needs refueling, they can do it. And the difference is the boat that they had been using for the past 30 years had a 750,000 gallon capacity. This one has twice that. This one has 1.5 million gallon fueling capacity. So if you can go fill a drill ship. If a drill ship needs 1 million gallons of diesel fuel or whatever it is, let's say that is the case, then you can go and one time and fill it up instead of two times. So it increases safety at the same time.
And it was a worthy boat, but as we pointed out, we thought a lot of boats were worthy of winning the Boat of the Year. It's very subjective, and I think there was some great boats this year. Bruce, what do you want to add? By the way, Bruce is retiring in, about 4 months, but hopefully he'll come back to WorkBoat Show. 4 or 5 months?
Counting it down, yeah, I guess at the end of April is the tentative plan, yeah.
Bruce, I hate to admit this, but I am going to miss you.
Oh, Dave.
I'm going to miss you.
We'll be in touch.
But anyway, what kind of reflections, number one, how was this show? And also reflect back on the 15 or 16 WorkBoat shows you've been at over the years.
Well, this show has been, as everybody's been saying, has been great. The keynotes were outstanding. Captain Phillips, I've never seen a crowd that big at a keynote we've had.
Overflow 700.
Yeah, 700. And he met expectations. He told his tale, which is a fantastic. Everybody knows the story because of the movie and the book and the press coverage. But he brought it alive again, and I think everybody was really interested in hearing and seeing him. And then Frank Foti was his usual engaging self yesterday. He's from my neck of the woods, so it was kind of a treat to hear and see him. But, coming to New Orleans for these shows has always been a treat for me. I love New Orleans. I love the show. So for all these years, it's really been one of the highlights of the year for me coming down for the show.
Well, I guess that's about it. If anything else to add, because it's been another great show, and we'll be back here again next year. At least two of us will. Okay. Thanks. I'm going to miss you, Bruce. Thanks a lot. Okay, so thanks a lot from the WorkBoat Show.